The night Alpha Kael captured the rogue king, the entire kingdom should have slept in peace. Instead, every wolf felt something was wrong. The moon hung low above the black pine forest, swollen and pale, as if it had witnessed a secret too terrible to speak. Wind moved through the trees with a sound like whispering voices. Far beyond the borders of the Bloodcrest pack, torches burned in a long red line across the mountain road, carried by warriors who had spent years hunting the most feared wolf alive. At the center of them all walked Alpha Kael. He was young for an alpha, but no one called him weak. Not after the wars he had survived, not after the enemies he had buried, not after the night he stood alone at the northern border and came back with blood on his coat and victory in his hands. Kael was the son of Alpha Darius, the legendary ruler who had died 15 years earlier, defending the packs from darkness. Every elder spoke Darius's name with respect. Every mother told her children that if not for Alpha Darius, the rogue king would have burned the kingdom to ash. And now, after 20 years of fear, Kael had finished what his father started. The rogue king was captured. His name was Veyron. Some called him the Butcher of Black Moon Mountain. Some called him the Wolf Without Mercy. Some said he had slaughtered entire packs beneath the red moon and drank victory from the bones of dead alphas. For years, he had lived like a shadow. No prison could hold him. No army could trap him. No tracker could follow his scent for long. He appeared only when death followed and vanished before anyone could strike back. But that night, Veyron did not run. That was the first thing Kael could not understand. The rogue king had been surrounded in the ruins of an old moon temple, standing alone beneath cracked stone pillars, his silver-black cloak moving in the wind. He had no army with him, no guards, no escape route. His face was calm, almost bored, as though he had been waiting. Kael had expected a final battle. He had expected claws, blood, rage, and a fight worthy of every story told about the monster. Instead, Veyron looked at him and smiled. That smile stayed in Kael's mind long after the chains were locked around the rogue king's wrists. It was not the smile of a defeated man. It was the smile of someone whose plan had only just begun. By midnight, the whole kingdom knew. Messengers rode through the forest. Bells rang from pack towers. Wolves howled from one territory to another until the news spread across every border. The rogue king had fallen. By dawn, the Alpha Council ordered a public execution. No trial, no delay, no mercy. The execution ground stood in the center of Bloodcrest territory, carved from black stone and surrounded by 7 ancient pillars. Those pillars represented the 7 ruling packs, the same packs that had sworn a blood oath to destroy Veyron and erase his name from history. Thousands gathered before sunrise. Warriors stood shoulder to shoulder. Elders wore ceremonial robes. Mothers held their children close so they could witness the end of the monster they had feared their entire lives. Even the weakest wolves forced themselves forward, desperate to see the face of the enemy who had haunted their nightmares. At the highest platform stood Kael. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He only watched the prisoner. Veyron was dragged to the center stone in silver chains. Every wolf knew silver burned. It poisoned the blood, weakened the wolf, and broke the strength of even the strongest alpha. Yet Veyron walked as though the chains were nothing more than ornaments around his wrists. His hair was dark, streaked lightly with silver near the temples. His face carried no fear, no shame, no begging. His eyes were sharp and cold, but not empty. That disturbed Kael more than anything. Monsters were supposed to look like monsters. Veyron looked like a king who had allowed himself to be placed in chains. The crowd hissed when he stepped onto the stone. Some spat at his feet. Some cursed his name. One old woman screamed that her sons had died because of him. Veyron did not answer. He simply lifted his eyes and looked at Kael. Not at the council, not at the executioner, not at the thousands calling for his death. Only Kael. A strange silence passed between them. Kael felt it like a blade sliding slowly beneath his ribs. Elder Marcellus, head of the Alpha Council, raised his staff. He was an old wolf with white hair, cold eyes, and a voice that could silence a war room. For 20 years, Marcellus declared, this criminal has brought grief upon our kingdom. He has murdered alphas, burned villages, slaughtered bloodlines, and broken sacred law. Today, under the witness of the moon, justice is done. The crowd roared. Kael kept his eyes on Veyron. Still, the rogue king smiled. The executioner stepped forward with the silver blade. That was when Veyron finally spoke. His voice was not loud, but it cut through the crowd like thunder. If I die tonight, every alpha in this kingdom dies with me. The crowd went still. Even the wind seemed to stop. Elder Marcellus's face hardened. Empty threats from a condemned wolf. Veyron turned his head slowly toward him. You should know better than anyone, Marcellus. I never make empty threats. A murmur moved through the crowd. Kael's jaw tightened. There was something in Marcellus's eyes. It lasted less than a heartbeat, but Kael saw it. Fear. Not anger. Not disgust. Fear. That single flicker changed the air around him. Veyron looked back at Kael. You were easier to trap than your father. The word struck harder than any blade. Kael stepped forward. Do not speak of my father. The rogue king's smile faded slightly. Then ask him yourself. The crowd shifted in confusion. Kael's voice dropped. My father is dead. Veyron tilted his head. Is he? The silence that followed was different. This was not the silence of fear. This was the silence of a kingdom hearing something it was never meant to hear. Kael felt the eyes of the council on him. He felt Marcellus watching too closely. He felt the executioner waiting, blade raised but unmoving. The story of Alpha Darius's death was sacred history. 15 years ago, beneath Black Moon Mountain, Darius had led the final charge against Veyron's forces. He had saved the Pax, but never returned. His body was never found, only his blood-stained ring and torn cloak. Kael had grown up carrying that story like a wound. His father had died a hero. That truth had shaped him. That truth had made him Alpha. And now the rogue king stood in chains, smiling like he knew the grave had lied. Kael descended from the platform. The crowd parted for him. Every step toward Veyron felt heavier than the last. When Kael reached the center stone, he stood face to face with the man he had been raised to hate. Say that again, Kael ordered. Veyron's eyes darkened. Ask your father what happened beneath Black Moon Mountain. A low growl rose from Kael's chest. Around them, warriors reached for their weapons. Elder Marcellus snapped, Enough! Execute him! But Kael lifted one hand. The executioner froze. Marcellus turned sharply. Alpha Kael, do not be deceived. This is what he does. He poisons minds before he poisons kingdoms. Kael did not look away from Veyron. What happened at Black Moon Mountain? Veyron leaned closer, his silver chains scraping against the stone. The same thing that happened at Ashfall Ridge. The same thing that happened at Redwater Valley. The same thing that happened to every pack that discovered the truth. Kael's pulse slowed. Ashfall Ridge, Redwater Valley. Those were massacre sites. Places where Veyron had supposedly butchered innocent wolves. Places used in every council speech as proof that the rogue king deserved death. Kael's voice became dangerously quiet. What truth? Veyron looked past him, toward the council. Then he said, "The Alphas did not hunt me because I was destroying the kingdom. They hunted me because I refused to help them control it." The crowd erupted. Some shouted liar. Others demanded the blade. Elders rose from their seats, furious and pale. Marcellus struck his staff against the platform. "Kill him now!" But Kael heard it again. That crack in Marcellus's voice. That fear hiding beneath command. And once heard, it could not be unheard. Kael turned slowly toward the council. "Why are you afraid of a chained man?" The question moved through the execution ground like fire. Marcellus's eyes narrowed. "Careful, boy." The word cut through Kael more than the insult should have. Boy, not alpha, not leader, boy. For the first time since his coronation, Kael saw the council not as guardians of the kingdom, but as old wolves standing too close to a buried grave. Veyron laughed softly behind him. Kael turned back. "What is so funny?" he asked. Veyron's expression changed then. The mockery faded. For the first time, something almost like pity entered his eyes. "Because you still think this moment belongs to you." Kael stepped closer. "Then who does it belong to?" Veyron raised his bound wrist slightly. "To the dead who were silenced, to the wolves who were blamed, to the children raised on lies, and to the son who never questioned why his father's body was never found." The word struck the deepest wound Kael had. His father's body had never been recovered. Everyone said the mountain fire had consumed it. Everyone said there was nothing left to bury. Everyone said it was better not to ask. Kael had believed them because he was a grieving child. Now he was no longer a child. A horn sounded from the eastern tower. Once. Twice. Then a third time. The crowd turned. A messenger sprinted into the execution ground, breathless and pale. He dropped to one knee before the platform, shaking so violently he could barely speak. Elder Marcellus snapped, "What is it?" The messenger lifted his head. "The Northern Archive has been burned." Gasps spread through the crowd. Kael's eyes sharpened. "When?" "Before dawn, Alpha. Before dawn." Before Veyron spoke. Before anyone knew he would mention Black Moon Mountain. Kael looked at the rogue king. Veyron looked back without surprise. The messenger swallowed. "There is more." Marcellus's face went cold. "Speak." The messenger's voice cracked. "The records from Black Moon Mountain are gone." The execution ground fell into a silence so deep it felt unnatural. Kael's blood turned cold. Records did not burn themselves. Archives did not vanish by accident. And no one destroyed evidence unless there was something to hide. Veyron lowered his voice so only Kael could hear. "They are moving faster than I expected." Kael stared at him. "Who?" Veyron's eyes shifted again toward the council. "The wolves your father trusted." Kael looked at Marcellus. Marcellus no longer looked afraid. He looked furious. "Execute him," the elder commanded. This time, Kael did not hesitate. "No!" The word shook the ground more than the crowd's roar had. Every warrior turned toward him. The executioner lowered the blade. Marcellus stepped forward, his face twisted with disbelief. "You dare defy the council?" Kael's wolf rose inside him, hot and violent, pressing against his skin. I dare question why evidence was burned before the accused could explain it." Marcellus pointed his staff toward Veyron. "That creature is not accused. He is condemned." "By whom?" Kael asked. "By the truth, or by the men who control it?" A dangerous murmur passed through the gathered wolves. That question could not be taken back. Marcellus's voice dropped. "Your father would be ashamed." Kael felt the words hit their mark. For one moment, the boy inside him wanted to believe the elder, wanted to return to the safe version of history where his father died noble, the council stood pure, and the monster in chains deserved the blade. But Veyron's smile, Marcellus's fear, the burned archive, the missing records, all of it stood together like pieces of a door beginning to open. Kael faced the crowd. The execution is delayed. Outrage exploded. Warriors shouted. Elders protested. Mothers pulled children back as if Kael himself had become dangerous. But Kael's voice rose above them all. "Until I know why the Black Moon records were destroyed, no blood will be spilled on this stone." Veyron watched him with unreadable eyes. For the first time, he did not smile. Kael gave the order, "Take him to the silver cells." The guards hesitated. Kael's growl rolled across the execution ground. "Now." They obeyed. As the rogue king was dragged away, he turned his head once more. His voice carried over the chaos. "You have until moonrise, Alpha Kael." Kael's eyes narrowed. "Until moonrise for what?" Veyron's answer made every wolf in the square stop breathing. "Until they decide whether you are still useful alive." Then the guards pulled him into the darkness beneath the fortress. Kael stood alone on the execution stone as the kingdom watched him with suspicion, fear, and anger. Only an hour ago, he had been the hero who captured the greatest enemy alive. Now he had delayed justice, challenged the council, and listened to the monster every pack had sworn to hate. Above him, the pale moon slipped behind a cloud, and somewhere beneath Bloodcrest Fortress, the rogue king waited in chains, knowing secrets that could destroy every alpha in the kingdom. But Kael did not yet understand the most dangerous truth. The hunt had never ended. It had only changed direction. And by saving the rogue king's life, Alpha Kael had just placed a target on his own. The moment the execution ground emptied, the kingdom split into two camps. One side believed Alpha Kael had lost his mind. The other believed he had discovered something dangerous. Both sides were correct. By midday, rumors spread faster than wildfire. Some claimed the rogue king had bewitched Kael. Others whispered that Elder Marcellus had looked frightened when Black Moon Mountain was mentioned. The bravest wolves spoke only in private. The smartest wolves stopped speaking altogether. Because everyone knew one thing. If the council was hiding something, asking questions could get you killed. Kael spent the afternoon inside Bloodcrest Fortress, staring at maps, records, and reports that suddenly seemed worthless. For years he had trusted the kingdom's history. Now every page felt suspicious. Every victory felt questionable. Every official story felt incomplete. His father had always taught him that truth was stronger than fear. The problem was that his father was supposedly dead. And a monster sitting in a silver prison claimed otherwise. Outside his chamber, thunder rolled across the mountains. Dark clouds gathered over the kingdom. By sunset, rain hammered against the fortress walls. Kael barely noticed. His attention remained fixed on a single object resting on the table. A worn leather journal. It had belonged to Alpha Darius, his father. The journal had survived 15 years untouched. Kael had read it countless times growing up. He knew every page, every memory, every lesson, or so he thought. Now he was reading it differently. This time, he was looking for what was missing. Hours passed. Nothing. The entries appeared normal. Training reports, pack disputes, border conflicts, trade agreements. Then something strange caught his attention. 3 weeks before the battle at Black Moon Mountain, several pages had been removed. Not torn accidentally. Cut carefully. Deliberately. The missing section covered exactly 12 days. 12 days before his father's disappearance. Kael's pulse quickened. Why remove those pages? Who removed them? And more importantly, what had been written there? A knock interrupted his thoughts. His closest friend entered without waiting for permission. Beta Ronan. For nearly 10 years, Ronan had stood beside Kael through every battle, every council meeting, and every difficult decision. If Kael trusted anyone, it was him. Yet tonight, something felt different. Ronan looked nervous. Not worried. Nervous. There was a difference. You should not have delayed the execution, Ronan said. Kael looked up. The council sent you? No. The answer came too quickly. Kael noticed. Ronan noticed that Kael noticed. The room grew uncomfortable. Rain battered the windows. Neither wolf spoke for several seconds. Finally, Kael broke the silence. Do you know anything about Black Moon Mountain? The question hit Ronan like a spear. His reaction lasted only a moment, but it was enough. Kael saw the tension, the hesitation, the fear. Again, fear. Everyone seemed afraid of the same subject. Ronan looked away. No, he lied. Kael knew it instantly. The problem was that Ronan knew Kael knew it too. For years they had fought together. They could read each other better than brothers. A wall had suddenly appeared between them. Neither knew how to cross it. Before Kael could press further, another knock came. A young messenger entered. His face was pale. Alpha. What is it? The Northern Archive Keeper has been found. Kael stood immediately. Alive? The messenger swallowed. No. The room became silent. Where? In the river below the cliffs. The messenger hesitated. There are signs he was tortured before death. Kael felt cold. The Archive Keeper had been the last known guardian of the Black Moon records. Now he was dead. That was not coincidence. That was cleanup. Someone was erasing evidence. Someone was eliminating witnesses. And they were moving quickly. Too quickly. As the messenger left, Kael noticed something. Ronan would not meet his eyes. Not once. Hours later, long after darkness swallowed the kingdom, Kael descended into the fortress prison. The silver cells lay deep underground. Few wolves ever entered them. Even fewer left. Torches flickered along wet stone walls. The air smelled of iron and ancient dust. At the very end of the corridor sat the rogue king, alone, waiting, as if he had known Kael would come. The guards stepped back when Kael approached. Veyron sat calmly on a stone bench. Silver chains bound his wrists to the wall. Most wolves would have been screaming from pain. Veyron looked comfortable, almost amused. You took longer than expected, he said. Kael ignored the remark. The Archive Keeper is dead. Veyron nodded. I know. The answer sent a chill through the corridor. How? Veyron's eyes lifted slowly. Because this is how they always operate. Kael stepped closer. Who? The council. The word echoed softly. Kael crossed his arms. You expect me to believe the leaders of 7 packs are murderers? No. Veyron smiled faintly. I expect you to discover it yourself. Kael hated that answer, because part of him already feared it might be true. Tell me what happened at Black Moon Mountain. For the first time, Veyron became serious. The amusement disappeared. The confidence remained. But something darker emerged. Regret. I warned your father not to go. Kael froze. Those words were impossible. Every official account claimed Darius had gone to destroy Veyron. Not speak with him. Not meet him. Destroy him. You are lying. No. Veyron leaned forward. Your father requested the meeting. Kael stared. The world seemed to tilt slightly. Nothing made sense anymore. My father hunted you. No. Veyron replied quietly. He hunted the same people I did. The silence stretched. Kael's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Everything he knew was breaking apart. Every answer created 10 new questions. Veyron continued. Your father discovered something hidden beneath Black Moon Mountain. What? The Rogue King's expression darkened. A grave. Kael frowned. A grave. Not for bodies. The prison seemed colder. Veyron lowered his voice. A grave for the truth. Those words settled heavily between them. Kael felt something dangerous approaching. The kind of revelation that changed lives. Perhaps kingdoms. What truth? Veyron looked directly into his eyes. The massacres never happened the way the council claimed. Kael's breathing slowed. Veyron continued. Ashfall Ridge. Redwater Valley. Silver Creek. The Fallen Woods. Each location was infamous. Every wolf knew the stories. Entire communities supposedly destroyed by rogue attacks. Entire bloodlines wiped out. Every crime blamed on Veyron. Every crime used to justify the endless hunt. What are you saying? Kael asked. I am saying I did not kill them. The words hung in the darkness. Kael wanted to reject them, wanted to dismiss them immediately. But evidence kept appearing. Burned records, missing journal pages, dead witnesses, fearful elders. None of it fit the official story. Veyron continued. The first massacre changed everything. When the council blamed me, I thought the truth would eventually surface. It never did. The second massacre happened. Then the third. Then the fourth. Eventually, people stopped asking questions. The Rogue King's eyes became distant. As long as they had a monster to blame, they never looked for the real killers. Kael remained silent. His instincts screamed that he was standing near something enormous, something hidden for decades, something powerful enough to make the council panic. Then Veyron said the one thing Kael never expected. Your father discovered proof. Kael's head snapped up. What proof? The names. The Rogue King looked toward the darkness beyond the cell. The names of every Alpha involved. Kael's blood froze. Every Alpha involved. Not one. Not two. Every Alpha. The implications were horrifying. If true, the conspiracy reached farther than Kael had imagined. Farther than any wolf had imagined. Farther than perhaps even the kingdom itself. Suddenly, footsteps echoed through the prison corridor. Fast. Urgent. Several guards rushed toward the cell. Their faces were filled with alarm. One nearly stumbled. "Alpha!" Kael turned. "What happened?" The guard struggled to catch his breath. "The eastern watchtower has been attacked." Kael frowned. "By who?" The guard's answer changed everything. "We do not know. There was only one attacker." "One?" The guard nodded. His face had gone completely pale. "He left a message." A strange feeling settled in Kael's stomach. "What message?" The guard swallowed hard, then spoke the exact words. "The hunt has begun." Silence. Kael slowly turned toward Veyron. The rogue king was no longer smiling. For the first time since his capture, genuine concern appeared in his eyes. And that frightened Kael more than anything else. Because if something existed that could frighten the rogue king, then the kingdom was in far greater danger than anyone realized. Veyron stood slowly despite the chains, his gaze locked onto Kael. "When moonrise comes tomorrow night," he said quietly, "the first Alpha will die." Kael's heart pounded. "How do you know?" Veyron's answer sent ice through every wolf standing in that corridor. "Because 15 years ago, I helped create the man who is coming. And somewhere beyond the fortress walls, hidden within the storm, a shadow moved through the kingdom. A shadow that had remained invisible for 15 years. A shadow that was finally returning home." The storm did not stop that night. Rain slammed against the fortress walls, as though the sky itself was trying to break inside. Most wolves blamed the weather for their unease. Alpha Kael knew better. The kingdom was afraid. And fear had a scent. It lingered in the air after the guards left the prison corridor. It followed Kael through the fortress halls. It waited in every shadow. The message found at the eastern watchtower should not have been possible. The hunt has begun. 3 simple words. 3 words powerful enough to make the rogue king forget how to smile. That alone was terrifying. For 20 years, Veyron had been the thing wolves feared. Now something else frightened him. Something worse. Kael spent the remainder of the night gathering reports. None of them made sense. The attacker had appeared shortly after midnight. The tower guards claimed he moved faster than a normal wolf. No scent. No tracks. No witnesses who could identify him. Only destruction. 5 guards injured. 2 unconscious. 1 dead. The dead guard had been found hanging from the watchtower wall. Pinned to his chest was a black iron coin, marked with an unfamiliar symbol. A circle. Inside the circle was a single eye. Watching. Waiting. Remembering. No elder recognized it. No historian could explain it. The symbol appeared nowhere in official records. That bothered Kael, because truly dangerous enemies always left footprints. This enemy seemed determined to erase his. By dawn, Kael rode for the eastern watchtower. The rain had weakened, but thick fog still covered the hills. Warriors followed behind him. No one spoke. The atmosphere felt wrong. Every wolf sensed it. The tower stood atop a rocky ridge overlooking miles of forest. Normally it served as one of the kingdom's safest positions. Now it looked like a battlefield. Broken stone, collapsed walls, bloodstains. The attacker's path cut through the tower with surgical precision. No wasted movement. No random violence. Everything had purpose. That fact disturbed Kael more than the destruction itself. This was not the work of a savage. This was the work of someone disciplined, someone trained, someone intelligent. As Kael examined the scene, an elderly guard approached him. His arm rested in a sling. Deep claw marks scarred the side of his face. "You saw him?" Kael asked. The old guard nodded, only briefly. "What did he look like?" The guard hesitated. That hesitation immediately captured Kael's attention. "Tell me." The old wolf swallowed. "He looked familiar." Kael frowned. "Familiar how?" The guard's eyes shifted uneasily, as if I had seen him before. "Where?" "I do not know." The answer sounded honest, which somehow made it worse. The old guard stared into the fog. Then he whispered something unexpected. He looked like a ghost. A cold sensation moved through Kael's chest. Ghosts did not attack watchtowers. Ghosts did not kill warriors. Yet lately the kingdom seemed filled with the dead. His father. Black Moon Mountain. Burned archives. Missing witnesses. Every answer pointed backward. 15 years backward. Toward a grave that suddenly felt less certain. Hours later, Kael returned to Bloodcrest Fortress, carrying the black iron coin. He intended to question Veyron immediately. Instead, he found something waiting outside his chamber. A package. No name. No seal. No messenger. Just a small wooden box tied with black cord. The guards swore it had not been there an hour earlier. That meant someone had entered the fortress. A fortress supposedly impossible to infiltrate. Kael dismissed everyone before opening it. Inside rested a single object. A ring. His heart stopped. For several seconds he simply stared, unable to move, unable to breathe, unable to think, because he recognized it instantly. Every wolf in the kingdom would have recognized it. The ring belonged to Alpha Darius, his father. The same ring supposedly recovered 15 years ago after Black Moon Mountain. The same ring displayed inside the Hall of Heroes. The same ring Kael had visited countless times as a child. Only this ring was different. The Hall of Heroes ring contained a cracked gemstone. This one did not. This gemstone remained perfect, untouched, unbroken. Kael's pulse hammered. One of them was fake, which meant someone had lied. Again. Beneath the ring lay a folded piece of parchment. Only 7 words were written across it. Ask who buried the empty grave. Kael read the message 3 times. Then a 4th. The words never changed. Neither did the implications. His father's grave. No body. No remains. Only a story. Only faith. Only trust. Suddenly Kael understood something terrifying. He had never questioned the grave because everyone told him not to. Children trusted adults. Pups trusted elders. Future alphas trusted the council. And trust was far easier than doubt. But doubt had finally arrived, and it was impossible to send away. Before sunset, Kael visited the Hall of Heroes. The chamber stood beneath the fortress. Massive statues lined the walls. Ancient rulers, war heroes, legendary warriors. At the center stood the memorial of Alpha Darius, the hero of Black Moon Mountain. The father Kael had spent 15 years mourning. The display case remained exactly where it had always been. Inside rested the famous ring. Kael approached slowly. His breathing remained steady. His thoughts did not. The display ring contained the cracked gemstone. The ring in his pocket did not. Both could not be real. Someone had forged one. The question was why. As Kael stared at the display, a voice echoed from behind him. "You should not be here alone." Kael turned. Elder Marcellus. Of course. The old wolf seemed to appear whenever dangerous questions surfaced. His expression remained calm. Too calm. What happened to the gemstone? Kael asked. Marcellus glanced toward the ring. For the briefest moment, something flashed through his eyes. Recognition. Then it vanished. The crack occurred during battle. Kael watched him carefully. Did you witness it? Marcellus nodded. I was there. Another lie. Kael felt it immediately. Not because of evidence, because of instinct. The elder answered too quickly, too smoothly, too perfectly, like someone repeating a story rehearsed long ago. Kael smiled politely. Thank you. Marcellus seemed surprised. Perhaps he expected resistance, questions, suspicion. Instead, Kael walked away, and that worried the elder more, because smart enemies feared silence, not arguments. That night, Kael returned to the silver prison. Veyron stood waiting, almost as if he had anticipated the visit. The Rogue King's eyes immediately settled on the ring in Kael's hand. For the first time, genuine shock crossed his face. You found it. Kael's gaze sharpened. You know this ring. Veyron laughed softly. Not with humor, with disbelief. Know it. He stepped forward until the silver chains pulled tight. I watched your father wear it for 20 years. The prison fell silent. Kael stared. Every answer created 10 new mysteries. Every mystery led deeper into darkness. Who sent it? He asked. Veyron slowly shook his head. I do not know. For the first time, Kael believed him. The Rogue King looked genuinely confused. Then something changed. A realization. A dangerous one. Veyron's expression darkened. What is it? Kael demanded. The Rogue King looked directly into his eyes. The sender is not helping you. Kael frowned. What do you mean? Veyron's voice lowered. They are warning you. The prison suddenly felt colder. Warning me about what? Veyron's answer came immediately. They know you are looking. Silence. Kael felt his heartbeat quicken. They? The people who burned the archives. The people who killed the Keeper. The people who buried the lies. Veyron stepped closer. And now they know you are digging them up. The realization settled heavily. For days, Kael had believed he was investigating a secret. But secrets worked both ways. If he was searching for them, they were searching for him too. The hunter and the hunted had changed places. A terrible possibility entered his mind. What if the attacker from the watchtower works for them? Veyron's expression remained unreadable. What if he does not? The answer caught Kael off guard. What? The Rogue King folded his arms. What if the attacker hates them even more than I do? The idea sounded absurd. Yet lately, everything impossible seemed true. Who is he? Kael asked. For the first time, uncertainty appeared in Veyron's eyes. Not fear, not confidence. Uncertainty. And that was somehow worse. Because Veyron always seemed to know everything. Until now. Finally, the Rogue King spoke. I do not know his name. Kael waited. Veyron continued. But 15 years ago, the chains rattled softly. There was a boy. The prison seemed to hold its breath. A survivor. A witness. The only person who escaped Black Moon Mountain alive. Kael's heart pounded. What happened to him? Veyron's gaze darkened. He disappeared. The silence stretched. Then Veyron added the words that changed everything. Until last night, Kael stared. The attacker's face, the fear, the message, the ghost-like appearance. Suddenly the pieces began fitting together. The survivor, the witness, the missing 15 years. The hunt has begun. Then Veyron revealed the final blow. The boy watched your father die. Kael froze. Every sound vanished. Every thought stopped. Every certainty shattered. Because if the survivor truly witnessed Black Moon Mountain, then somewhere in the kingdom lived a man carrying the one truth everyone feared. The truth about Alpha Darius. The truth about the rogue king. The truth about the council. And if that witness had finally returned after 15 years, then he was not coming for revenge. He was coming for something far more dangerous. The truth. And truth had a habit of killing powerful people. Far above the prison, thunder exploded across the night sky. Neither wolf moved. Neither spoke. Because somewhere beyond the fortress walls, hidden within the darkness, a witness from the past had begun hunting the kingdom. And he already knew exactly where to strike next. The next morning, the kingdom woke to another death. This time, the victim was not a guard. It was an alpha. The news spread before sunrise. Alpha Cedric of the Stonefang Pack had been found dead inside his private chambers. The doors had been locked from the inside. The windows remained sealed. No signs of forced entry. No signs of struggle. No scent. No tracks. No witnesses. Only one thing had been left behind. A black iron coin. The same coin found at the Eastern Watchtower. The same symbol. A single eye. Watching. Waiting. Remembering. Panic swept through the Alpha Council. For the first time in years, the rulers of the kingdom looked vulnerable, because the impossible had happened. An Alpha was dead, and someone had done it without leaving a trace. By midday, emergency meetings filled the council hall. Guards doubled. Borders closed. Warriors flooded the roads. Every Alpha demanded answers. Yet none of them seemed interested in finding the truth. Only survival. That realization struck Kael harder than he expected. Not one elder asked who killed Cedric. Not one elder questioned why the black coins kept appearing. Not one elder mentioned Black Moon Mountain. Instead, they focused on one thing: the Rogue King. Several demanded Veyron's immediate execution. Others claimed the prisoner was somehow orchestrating events from his cell. The arguments grew louder, more desperate, more irrational. And through it all, Elder Marcellus remained silent, watching, calculating, waiting. Kael noticed. He noticed everything now. That was the problem with doubt. Once it entered your mind, it never stopped growing. That evening, Kael made a decision. A dangerous one. He would visit Black Moon Mountain. Not with an army. Not with council permission. Alone. Because every answer pointed there. Every lie pointed there. Every death pointed there. And somewhere beneath that mountain rested the truth. By nightfall, Kael rode through the forest beneath a sky covered in storm clouds. The journey took hours. The deeper he traveled, the quieter the world became. No birds. No wolves. No sounds. Only wind. Even nature seemed unwilling to approach the mountain. Eventually it appeared. A massive black silhouette rising above the wilderness. Broken cliffs. Burned trees. Ancient scars carved into stone. The battlefield where history claimed Alpha Darius died. The battlefield where Veyron claimed history itself had been murdered. Kael dismounted. The air felt strange, heavy, almost haunted. As he climbed the mountain path, fragments of old memories surfaced. Stories told by elders, songs sung during ceremonies, legends repeated since childhood. Every version ended the same way. Darius died a hero. Veyron escaped. The kingdom was saved. Simple, clean, perfect. And perfect stories were usually lies. After an hour of searching, Kael found it. A hidden entrance concealed behind fallen stone. Ancient, forgotten, deliberately buried. His pulse quickened. No map mentioned this place. No records described it. Someone had erased it, which meant it mattered. Inside, darkness swallowed everything. Kael lit a torch and descended. The tunnel stretched deep beneath the mountain. Dust covered the floor. Cobwebs filled the corners. No one had entered for years. At least that was what Kael believed, until he saw the footprints. Fresh, recent. Someone had been here. Someone alive. Someone searching. The tunnel eventually opened into a massive underground chamber. Kael stopped breathing. The room was enormous. Ancient pillars surrounded hundreds of stone tablets. Names. Thousands of names, carved into black stone. His torchlight trembled. Not because of fear, because of realization. This was no tomb. It was a record someone desperately wanted hidden. Kael approached the nearest tablet. His eyes widened. The names belonged to victims, entire families, entire villages, entire bloodlines. The supposed victims of the massacres: Ashfall Ridge, Redwater Valley, Silver Creek, the Fallen Woods. Every tragedy blamed on the rogue king. Then Kael noticed something else. Beside each victim's name stood another name. Smaller, hidden, different. A second list. The killers. His blood froze. Alpha Cedric, Alpha Rowan, Alpha Garrick, Alpha Voss, council members, pack leaders, heroes. The names continued. Again, and again, and again. The massacres had not been committed by rogues. They had been ordered by alphas. For years, for decades, the kingdom had been slaughtered by its own protectors. Kael staggered backward. Everything was true. Every warning, every lie, every missing record, every burned archive, everything. Then he saw a final tablet. One name sat at the top, larger than all the others. The mastermind, the architect, the leader. Kael's torch nearly slipped from his hand. Alpha Darius, his father. The world seemed to stop. His mind rejected it instantly. Impossible, impossible, impossible. Yet the evidence stood before him. Stone did not lie. Stone had no reason to. For 15 years, Kael worshipped a hero. For 15 years, he mourned a father. For 15 years, he built his identity around a lie. Then a voice echoed from the darkness. You finally found it. Kael spun. A figure emerged from the shadows. Tall, scarred, powerful, eyes filled with old pain. The survivor, the witness, the ghost from Black Moon Mountain. The man everyone thought had disappeared 15 years ago. The same man who attacked the watchtower. The same man who killed Alpha Cedric. The the same man who left the black coins. Kael reached for his weapon. The stranger made no move. "You came for answers," he said. "You deserve them." The man's voice carried the weight of 15 years. 15 years of silence. 15 years of rage. 15 years of waiting. "What happened here?" Kael asked. The witness looked toward the stone tablets, then toward the ceiling above, as though staring through time itself. "Your father discovered the truth." Kael remained silent. He learned the council had been creating massacres to control the packs. He wanted to expose them. For the first time in his life, he chose honesty over power. Hope flickered briefly inside Kael. Then the witness destroyed it. The council murdered him for it. Silence. Cold. Absolute silence. The witness continued. Veyron tried to save him. Kael's heart stopped. Together, they planned to expose everything. But the council moved first. The battle at Black Moon Mountain never happened. There was no heroic sacrifice. There was only betrayal. The chamber seemed smaller now, harder to breathe in, harder to exist inside. Kael closed his eyes. His father had not been a monster, nor had he been the hero history described. He had been something far more human, a man who realized he was helping evil, a man who tried to stop it, a man who paid with his life. Then the witness spoke again. "Your father left something for you." Kael opened his eyes. The survivor handed him a sealed letter, old, weathered, untouched. Kael recognized the handwriting immediately. Darius. With trembling hands, he opened it. Inside was a final message, a message written hours before death, a message intended for a son who would not read it for 15 years. As Kael read, tears formed despite every effort to stop them. The letter contained no excuses, no self-defense, no lies, only truth. Darius admitted everything, his mistakes, his failures, his guilt. He admitted helping the council. He admitted remaining silent. He admitted becoming part of the machine that destroyed innocent lives. But he also described his decision to fight back, to expose them, to stop them, even if it cost him everything. At the very end stood one final sentence. The sentence that shattered Kael completely. "If you are reading this, then Veyron succeeded where I failed." For a long time, Kael simply stood there, holding the letter, holding the truth, holding the weight of an entire kingdom's deception. Then horns sounded outside. Many horns. Dozens. War horns. The witness looked upward. They found us. The council had arrived. Thousands of warriors surrounded Black Moon Mountain. Torches filled the night. The final confrontation had begun. Hours later, beneath a blood-red moon, the truth emerged. The witness revealed the hidden chamber, the stone tablets, the records, the evidence, the surviving victims, everything. The kingdom watched. The council denied, then panicked, then fractured, then fell. One by one, the lies collapsed. One by one, the guilty were exposed. One by one, the wolves learned who had truly destroyed their lives. No battle could save the council, because truth had become stronger than fear, and fear had ruled long enough. By dawn, the kingdom changed forever. The surviving elders were imprisoned. The hidden records were released. The victims were honored. The dead were remembered properly. And for the first time in decades, The packs knew the truth. As the first sunlight touched the mountains, Alpha Kael stood before thousands of wolves and read his father's final letter. For years, the kingdom had feared the wrong man. They had hunted the protector and trusted the predators. The rogue king was innocent, the council was guilty, and Alpha Darius had died trying to make things right. The truth spread from pack to pack. Statues fell, records were rewritten, names were restored. The dead were finally honored. Months later, Kael returned to Black Moon Mountain one last time. Beside him stood Veyron. No chains, no hatred, no war, only silence. Together they placed a memorial stone for every victim whose story had been stolen. Then Veyron turned to leave. Kael asked where he was going. The former rogue king smiled. Some battles end, others simply become lessons. Then he disappeared into the forest. Years later, pups would hear stories about the rogue king, but for the first time, they would hear the truth, not as a monster, not as a villain, but as the wolf who sacrificed everything so the kingdom could finally see. And beneath the same moon that once witnessed betrayal, peace finally returned to the packs. For the first time, in a very long time, the hunt was over